Alright, so it's May 10th, a few weeks into training. This week wasn't too bad. Um, got a decent run in earlier in the week. I ran from my house to 9 Round where I'm working a few days a week. It's 5.25 miles, so I ran over there, did a quick kind of cardio kickboxing workout for a half hour, then ran back. That was about the extent of my running this week, so I got 10.5 miles in. Might try to get a few miles in today. My Achilles tendon has been not too bad, bothered me a little bit, but feeling better. I'm getting back in the habit of icing it. I was getting a little sloppy still about keeping up on it, but I'm starting to get better at it, so it's feeling better. I was supposed to do a 50K on Saturday, but that did not happen. It kind of messed up with my day off request at work. Somehow I kind of deleted it on accident. So I was scheduled to work, then my buddy Kyle was trying to get the day off for me, and then I was like, you know what, this 50K that we have that's local, and I've never been able to do it. I think I've tried to sign up like 4 times, and just something's come up every time. So I was kind of joking that this might be the year that I actually run it, and when I saw that I was scheduled to work, I was gonna, try to get the day off, but then I kind of thought, you know what, maybe something's keeping me from running this race. Maybe something in life just doesn't want me to go out there still. And I kind of took it as that. I think if I went out and did it, I probably would have done something stupid, tried to run a little bit faster than I should have, and probably got injured. And when it comes down to it, the thing I'm training for is Headlands 100 in September. So I think life kind of worked that out for me. So that's just kind of how I took it. I think sometimes you have to listen to those messages that the universe puts out there, and when it doesn't want you to do something, or if you're not ready to do it, you need to be aware of that. So that's kind of how I took it. Felt kind of bad because Alicia, she ran it. I really wanted to try to run it with her. She ran it by herself. She had some friends out there, but her and I did not run it together. My friend Sunny, that was her first 50K. Congratulations to her. But yeah, so I didn't go out. I worked instead, which is good because I had to pay for the tags for my car, and man, that was a lot more money than I thought it was going to be. So work was a little bit more important. That being said, late last year in 2018, my friend Martin took over a race that I really find challenging. I don't know if I'm going to say I enjoy it, but it's a good race. Cool Moon 100. I've ran it on 3 occasions. At the time, my friend Jimmy was the race director, and I've finished it twice, and once I DNF'd. So I got a finish, a DNF, then I had to go back the next year after the DNF, where I dropped at mile 50 because I just was not mentally in a good spot. It's funny because when I dropped that year at mile 50, when I looked at the year that I finished the first time, the 100, I was actually like a half hour or hour ahead of my pace from the previous year. But I just was not mentally there that day. Physically, I was all right. I think if you told me at the 50-mile mark when I was going to drop, like, hey, you're actually an hour and a half or an hour ahead of where you were last year, you got it out and finish, I probably would have just tried to finish, but it was just a complicated year. So I thought about going out and doing that race. I know that Martin took it over. Martin's a really great guy. He's always been one of those people that we've followed each other for a while through social media, and we've seen each other a lot at races. Super positive guy. Always loved seeing him on the trails. I remember I met him, well, I didn't meet him at Pool. I think it was the first or might have been the second time that I was out there. It was just one of those moments where I was kind of taken back. You never kind of, for me at least, I never realized what kind of impact I'm having on people until they kind of tell me, I guess, is an easy way of saying it. I don't know who watches what I do. There's a short time where I stopped posting all my running stuff, and I just got kind of tired of social media. And I had a few friends message me who were like, "Hey, because of you I started running. I see that you're not running now, and it was for me at that time it was, well, I'm still running, I'm just not posting anything. And some of them basically told me like, hey, well, we'd like you to keep posting because when we see that you're doing something, it makes us want to go out and do it as well. And so I forgot where I was kind of going with that, but yeah, Martin was one of those guys that when him and I were hiking up this hill at the Cool Moon 100, and he's telling me that we're talking about people who inspire us, and he's just like, uh, there's all these like really awesome people out here today. There's Ed, my friend Ed, dresses up Ed the Jester. I don't know if anyone knows him. Dresses up in a jester. I don't know if I want to say costume outfit every race. Catcher Corbett, who's I haven't ran with her in a while, but super awesome person. Her and I ran the second time I ran Cool Moon 100. Her and I were sticking together. She was having some issues. I was having issues. Her and I both dropped at mile 50. And then we both went back the next year. We were like, hey, we have to come back and we'll finish this, and we kept each other accountable. I haven't seen Catcher in a long time. I hope, if you see this, I hope you're doing well. But somewhere along that conversation with Martin, he said there's a lot of people out here who are inspiring, like Ed and Katra and you. And I was really kind of taken back by that because I don't consider myself all that great of a, I guess, ultra runner or accomplished. And to have someone put me in a list of two people who I really admire and look up to was kind of odd. But Martin took over the Cool Moon 100, and when he did, him and I messaged each other a little bit, and I was like, yeah, now that you're taking over, maybe I should go back and do that race. So I've been thinking about doing it again for a while. It's just a really hard race. It's super exposed, it's really hot, and it's miserable, and it has a super high DNF rate. Did not finish, for those of you who don't know what DNF stands for. And yeah, I think the first year I ran it, I forgot how many of us started. I think there was like 45 people, like 4 of us finished, or 5. I tied with Ed for second place just because when we met each other at mile 45, we started kind of running together. Then at mile 50, we agreed to just stick with each other through the evening portion of the race. Then at mile 75, we're like, hey, let's just keep working together. And then we just ended up, agreeing to finish. At that time, we knew that we were in second place together, and we tied for second. It was pretty cool to get to do that with him. But yeah, so I found out Martin took over the race, and I was going back and forth about if I wanted to do it or not. And very long story short here, got a hold of Martin on Saturday, the day I was supposed to be running the 50K, and we messaged back and forth a little bit, and yeah, it's working out to where I'm going to go ahead and do Full Moon 100 this year. It'll be, I have to say, I hate to really say that it's a warm-up for Headlands 100, because I don't want to put Cool Moon 100 on this like lower pedestal compared to Headlands. The one year that I did finish, the first year I finished Cool Moon, I think 2 weeks later I went out and did, it was either Rendezvous or Rendezvous, 100 miler, and I set my PR at that race. I think around like 20 and a half hours or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this Cool Moon is such a hard course that it makes a lot of other races seem easy. And Rendezvous was an easier, I hate to say easier 100 miler, but it was a flat course. It was just 2-mile loops, and if you ran it pretty smart, you could get a really fast time. But and then Headlands 100 didn't seem as difficult, mainly because it wasn't like 120 degrees out in Marin County. Yeah, it was like a nice weather change, but I kind of had my eyes set on doing Cool Moon 100 as a prep for Headlands 100. I don't like going more than a year without doing a 100-mile race. I do Headlands 100 every year, and for me, just I don't want to forget what that feeling's like of staying up all night and running. And I'm not one of those people that really likes to run at night in general. Like, I don't really like getting off work and then staying up to like 10 o'clock at night and then going for a run for 2 hours. So I know I'm going to have to, but to me it's still, for me personally, it's not the same as running all day and all night. So the plan right now is in 2 months to be ready for Cool Moon 100. I know it's going to be a time that won't be a fast finishing time. It's going to be a lot of time on feet. It's going to be a lot of hiking, a lot of power walking, hopefully some running. It's just a tough course. It's one that I honestly don't take lightly. It's one that if I know if I go in unprepared, it's just going to eat me alive. So the next couple months are going to be really focusing on what I need to do, to survive that course. It's a really difficult course. So yeah, that's what's on the agenda now. And then of course Headlands 100, like a month after that. So um, we'll do Cool Moon, and then a lot of recovery, a lot of just shorter runs after that. I'm not going to worry about doing any high volume at all. I think after Cool Moon, my longest run will probably be like 10 miles, if that, because it's only like a month apart. It's like 4 or 5 weeks, I can't remember. But there's no point in doing anything huge after that. It's just going to be recovery, and then go with the next one. And hopefully I don't injure myself. But yeah, just trying to stay positive. Had a few negative days, just the training, just life. Sometimes you kind of get in those slumps. And it's kind of funny because last night I was kind of getting in one of those moods, just kind of being a little bitchy. And then my friend Ryan from high school sends me a text. He's like, "Hey, if you're not doing jiu-jitsu or swinging that steel mace around or running, give me a call." And it was in the middle of dinner, so I was waiting to call him. And then we ended up getting in touch with each other. We were just kind of talking about, what I was talking about earlier, like when you post stuff, you never know who's going to read it. And I've been doing a jiu-jitsu class Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at 5:15 a.m. and then doing a steel club class at 5 a.m. on Tuesday, Thursday. And Ryan was like, "Hey, I'm glad that you're posting that stuff because it makes me feel accountable." So he's been working out when he gets off work, and so the other day he was wanting to go for a run, and he's like, "Oh, it's hot. I'm not going to go." And he was like, "You know what though? David would probably go if he could, even though it's hot. So I'm going to go." And it was really cool to have that conversation with him. I've known him for a long time. We've been friends since high school. Our friendship has always been there. Sometimes it goes in waves, where we don't talk to each other for a while, or we just don't see each other. Then we reconnect, and he's always been a really cool guy. We played on the tennis team together in high school, the only sport that him and I both did. Well, he did swimming too, I think, but that was like the only thing that, for me, as playing guitar in a heavy metal band and enjoying all that, stuff. I loved playing music back then. I wasn't into any type of sports at all. I was always like the last person picked in everything in PE back then. But yeah, just having him take the time to actually call and say, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing. You're making me, kind of keep myself accountable." So, I think a lot of times you don't realize who's watching what you're doing, and that's where it's always good to try to live as positively as you can, which is hard sometimes, but that's what I took away from that conversation with him. And I told him, I was like, if he called me on Wednesday, this would have been a good conversation, but man, for some reason Friday, Saturday, and a little bit of Sunday, I was just in a slump, and I think that he called me when I needed him to call me. It was really great because I was getting kind of blah about a lot of stuff, but yeah, so point being, try to, I guess, inspire people to try to live the best life you can, and people will notice. I can't stand it when people boast about themselves, which easily kind of seems like what I'm doing, making videos and stuff. But just people who, when I meet them, drop their resume all the time. Like, this is what I've done. I don't know. That drives me absolutely nuts when someone has to constantly tell you all their accomplishments. If I want to know it, I'll ask, or I'll look it up, online, or generally just ask you. I was telling the guys in jiu-jitsu class today, we were talking a little bit, and I was like, when it's your birthday, I'm going to call you up. I'm not going to send you a message on Facebook or Instagram. I want to make human contact with people and actually call them up and not just message them. It only takes a second. Sometimes that's what changes someone's day. So it changed my day yesterday. It was just, someone who has known me for a very long time, reaching out, just telling me, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing, and keep pushing through everything. So that being said, I'm getting a lot more optimistic with my training. Gonna try to run tonight. I do the gym a little bit tomorrow. I have my steel mace class. I'm really getting more and more, I like to think, creative with the mace. I keep one by the couch. It's over in the corner over there. And when I'm watching TV, I just pick that thing up and try to play around with it a little bit. I love it. It's a very good way for me to try to be creative. Yeah, last night I picked up my guitar. I haven't played that in years. Yeah, tuned it up, played a few songs, just kind of messed around with it while Alicia was working on some stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun having an outlet of creativity. To me, I think running gives me that. So does jiu-jitsu. I think you just have to find something that you really love in life and express yourself through that. But yeah, a little lengthy video today, but oh well. Next week will be shorter.